How can you become more strategic with your time as a solopreneur when you work alone and you don't have a team? So here are 9 of my tips. Cool. So become more strategic with your time. So as a solopreneur, productivity and the correct and efficient use of your time, it's crucial to kind of getting things done. But sometimes it's not actually about productivity as such. I wanted to start with goal setting. So when you're online, there's an endless supply of inspiration and ideas and other people's success, and it's kind of easy to get sucked into somebody else's version of success. So the first way of being more strategic with your time is to be working towards something that is meaningful for you. So stop setting goals based on somebody else's version of success and tune back into the future that you want for yourself. So when your goals and your kind of imagined future really is something that comes from you, you're more inclined to stay on track with your plans and not have to reinvent things and go back to the drawing board over and over again. So this brings us to sticking to your decisions. Working solo means there's nobody there to hold you accountable but yourself. So find a way to stay on track. There's endless amounts of advice on how to stick to your goals, stick to your plans, but it has to be something that works for you. So I'm all about separating the assumptions and separating what everybody else is doing and really finding what works for yourself. So again, sticking to your decisions means you're building on a decision and you're not really going back on yourself. You're really going back to decisions that you've made in the past. Working alone, it can be very difficult to do this, which is why so many people work with coaches and strategists, and they're part of communities of people doing the same thing. So find a way to stay on track. Generally, a really, really good way to do that is to work with somebody who does that, or who will kind of keep you accountable and help you to stay on track. So sticking to your decisions. Yeah, because when you go back on things, you're kind of wasting time. Anyway, never market more than you network. This was from my coach from last year, Joanna Galvão in Portugal. She always spoke about networking as the more valuable use of your time over marketing. So marketing can be like social media, it can be any number of things, but networking and actually making real connections and being remembered by people, it's ultimately more valuable than just marketing and chasing likes and followers and things like that. So never market more than you network. Be an active member of your community. Be a useful, valuable member of your community. Be part of communities and make sure that everybody in there knows what you do, because human connection, real connection, that's ultimately going to be more valuable to you than, data and metrics. Number 4, working on your passion is exciting, but be sure to set work-life boundaries. We hear about work-life balance all the time, but I heard this term the other day, work-life boundaries, and it just made so much sense. So that means actually taking a lunch break. It means actually having a moment in the day where you stop working. So if you're listening to this and like, well, I have to collect the kids anyway, like me, that's the kind of your end of day boundary. Because if you're working for somebody else, you definitely have an end of the day time that you will actually stop working. So when you work for yourself, it's harder to do that because I just do one more thing. I'll just do one more thing, but that will end up in you overspending your time and energy. So in a previous post, I talked about your resources in your business, and being strategic really means making the use of your resources in a way that brings you the results that you want to see. So time, money, and energy are your resources as a solopreneur, somebody working solo. And we're naturally inclined to protect and to be careful about what we invest in terms of money. I'd like to invite you to be careful of how you invest your time and energy, because those resources, there is an end to them and there is a limit, even though we don't feel like there is a limit to our time and energy. Which brings me to the next point. Healthy and fulfilling hobbies and habits outside of your business help you perform better inside of your business. So make time for rest and fun as an actual priority, as a way of being better at what you do, being more present with your clients and more effective with the work that you do. So the stuff that you do, I mean, in my early days in Claire Creative, I wasn't taking any time off. I was always thinking about work. I was always like trying to get back to my desk for just 10 minutes of emails or something. And I was not making time for my creative hobbies. I wasn't doing any exercise. I wasn't eating well. My friendships were kind of left on the back burner. But when I made time for all of those things, to actually spend time with friends, my husband, time with my kids, not distracted, getting back to drawing, getting back to running, all of those things helped me be healthier and happier, and ultimately gave a better service to the people who I was working for, my clients. So if you're not making time, even just starting by prioritizing those things in your schedule, literally put in like a lunch date with a friend, or block out a morning a week to do whatever exercise or whatever physical activity, works for you. So prioritizing those, stick them in your calendar so that nobody else takes that time. Over-delivering to impress your clients doesn't help you grow. So it sounds like I'm saying don't serve your clients, but don't over-deliver as a way of trying to impress people. If you feel like you need to impress your clients, maybe you haven't pointed to the value of your service enough. If you feel like people are maybe thinking you're too expensive, or they regret their decision, there are other ways to kind of make sure that they understand the value of your service, rather than just slogging away and you being the reason that the scope of work creeps up. So this is specifically if you provide any kind of implementation service like copywriting or design or anything that you're actually spending time outside of the calls. Make sure that you and your client both have the same expectations from the project. So this comes down to like the really starting point of your project, having those conversations, writing out the scope of work, or having them sign a contract where all of those details can be pointed to, so that you are articulating that you need your time to be respected. You're going to respect their time, they should respect your time. Because when you're over-delivering and constantly replying to emails at weekends, in the evenings, or on your holidays, you're basically saying out loud, you don't have to respect my time because I don't. You don't have to respect my skills and expertise because I don't. And that's not a good place to be in. Over-delivering also gobbles up a load of your time, which means you're going to be more inclined to have feast and famine cycles in your business because you haven't done any marketing when you're busy. I could go on about this one all day. But over-delivering as a way to impress your clients is not going to allow you to grow, really. Which brings us to the point that you should only take on clients who fit your service. So if you're trying to over-deliver because you don't feel like your clients are happy, or you don't feel like you're doing a good enough job, it's possible that the clients that you've taken on are not a right fit for your service. So I know it has to be a moment in your business that you can afford to say no, or that you have kind of clarity on who is a good fit for your client, for your service. But if you can't help somebody, if you really feel like you're receiving a payment from somebody and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this person, you probably shouldn't take their money. You probably shouldn't accept that project, because they're going to be unhappy. You're going to feel like an imposter, and then you're going to end up chasing your tail and trying to maybe learn a new skill just to kind of to serve this client well. So make sure that the people that you take into your business, they're people that you can actually help. So tweaking and changing minor details on your site and socials won't get you more clients. This is a bit of tough love here, because I'm a graphic designer originally before I kind of focused in on digital strategy, and you can very easily get into like this kind of tweaking thing, because this website, this post, this video represents me and I want it to be right. I want it to look really professional and really good. But tweaking and changing those minor details, people don't really give a crap about the tiny details if you're saying the right things, if you're offering something that people really want, need, and urgently want to solve. If you're saying all the right things, if your messaging is meaningful and consistent, it means that that's kind of the thing that's going to get you clients, not like spending hours changing the fonts throughout your sites and social posts or changing the colors. Instead, do that work and stick to it. Lucy Werner from The Wern, she's a PR expert, says, when you're bored of your brand, you have to wait another 2 years to change it. I think that's great advice, because we're very close to our brand and the visuals and the things that we create and the things that we say, and we can get tired and bored of them sooner than our clients out there or our potential prospects or leads out there would be. So changing things up all the time, you're just going to get into like a black hole of time-wasting activities, and it's not really going to make a difference to your bottom line. It's not going to be that thing that helps you to get leads and clients into your business. So develop a style and a core message and stick to it. This is the kind of work that I do as a strategist, that designers do when they're working on your brand. Do it once. If you feel like you want to change it, you got to wait for a while. Again, back on the visual style, I have like 3 fonts and 3 colors that I use over and over again. And the reason that I do that and the reason that everything looks the same is that when somebody sees my posts or my content, they'll know it's from me, and that kind of builds like a recognition and a memorability. I'm always talking about the same things. I'm always using the same fonts and colors and kind of image style. And that's a really valuable part of how you show up online. It's your brand. It's like what you say, how you make people feel, the things that you want to be known for, and just like a kind of an instant flash of like, oh, that's Claire's style. That's what it is. So yeah, tweaking. Don't tweak. Do the work and then implement it. Which brings me to my last point. Don't be creative. So ironically, my name is Claire Creative Online. It's Claire Gallagher, actually. But don't be creative. That means that just because you have an idea, just because you've been inspired by something, just because you're bursting with ideas, doesn't mean that you have to act on every single one of them, because this brings you into tweaking, it brings you into rebranding, it brings you into like questioning your own decisions, your own goals, your own strategy. So be creative a couple of times a year, and then just monitor what's working and then build on that. So this is the work that I do as a strategist. I help people to set up that initial brand, work on a strategy for visibility that suits the person's strengths and values and actually does connect with their ideal clients online. So that's what I do as a strategist. Pop over to clairecreative.com if that's something that you'd like to do for your business. All right, thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you soon.